Good morning and welcome to the DFS Army YouTube channel. I'm Razzle11 and you can find me on X at Razzle11Grinds. Going to take a look at the pitching for today, the 21st of September. It is Sunday. We do have a 10-game main slate on DraftKings, and I believe it's an 11-game slate over on FanDuel. I don't believe there's much to worry about from a weather standpoint. I don't believe our weather station is updated yet. Nope. Still showing yesterday's information, but from my understanding is most games should be just fine. Probably some slight rain chances in a couple places, at least according to DraftKings, but we will want to look at some updates here as the morning progresses. This is a first look at the pitching options on the slate, and I will be looking at DraftKings as that is where a majority of my action is. If you play over on FanDuel, I would cut my pool in half or so. Pricing isn't quite as tight. You don't have to be as creative. It allows you to get stacks you want with an upper tier-ish pitcher. Let's just jump right into the matchups. Yankees, Orioles, two pitchers that I have plenty of interest in. Kyle Bradish has made 4 starts in his return from Tommy John, staying in the 80s for pitch count. So you can kind of guess that they'll probably do something very similar. Getting an extra day or two of rest in between each start. His walks have crept up each start, which I guess you kind of expect coming back from Tommy John. The control in the field is one of the things that just takes even longer for pitchers to get back. Strikeout upside is certainly there. 10 and 6 innings, 9 and 5. He's taken on a Yankee squad that's striking out plenty, but they do offer a bunch of power. But he's somebody that I think has a ton of upside in this matchup. It's just a little annoying that he's one of the most expensive pitchers on the slate. Actually, he is the most expensive pitcher on the DraftKings slate. But I will want to utilize some of him in my pool. Cam Schlittler, coming off of a rougher outing, looked like he was cruising and then he just fell apart in the 5th. The 5 walks, not ideal. He's definitely volatile, but we know that Baltimore has struggled, obviously, offensively. So I think Schlittler has plenty of upside. One of the biggest things is he's been really strong against left-handed bats, holding them to an OPS of 661. And he's been really strong away from New York. So I'm going to be all about Schlittler today. Call me crazy, but I am going to take that $1,600 discount between the two and go heavier on Schlittler than Bradish. But like I said, definitely using both of them. The A's and Pirates. Mike Burrows has actually been a decent pitcher for the Pirates. The problem is they got him back down in the 40s, 50s, 60s for pitch count, which is kind of wild. He was up to 91, but since then they've kind of taken the reins back. They kind of piggyback some starts with him, etc. I'm not going to get there. He surprisingly allowed 10 home runs in 51 innings at home. So this is a ballpark where home runs aren't hit all that often, but he's allowing more home runs at home. He's a decent strikeout guy. The A's do strike out, but still, like if you're only going to get 55 to 70 pitches, I'm going to assume that he's just going like 4 innings, and I don't think we can rely on that on a 10-game slate. On the other hand, Mitch Spence flashes some upside, but 5 days ago was his return, I think, to the big leagues. He was recalled. 5 days ago he came out of the bullpen. He's going to make a start. I just don't know how lengthened out he is. Would have to dig into his numbers in AAA since his demotion. Obviously, it's a matchup we like to pick on, but we're going to need some more information to see if he's even viable. Because right now, off the top of my head, I don't think he's going to be, viable from an inning standpoint. I think both guys in that game probably, end up being a 4-inning performer. If this was like a 4 or 5 game slate, I think we could consider both of them. But being that it's a 10 gamer, probably best to avoid. Cubs, Reds, Andrew Abbott, Jameson Taillon. Abbott, an all-star this year, has had some solid performances. 3 starts already against Cubs, averaging 19 fantasy points per. Strikeouts aren't there against them, which is obviously a big worry. He's been really strong at home, allowing a lot of base runners, but his overall numbers at home are actually pretty nice. Walks probably being the main culprit. Fewer home runs per 9 than on the road, which is always key. I don't think I'm going to get to Andrew Abbott in this spot. It's tough. He has shown the ability to put up some upside games. Nearly a 35 spot against this Cubs team. We don't know if the wind is blowing in that day or not. It was a while ago. Not sure I can remember that long ago. But Abbott's at least intriguing, but I don't think I'm going to end up there. Obviously, it could change once I dig into some more weather, etc. But on the other side, Jameson Taillon, he's actually looked good since his return from the IL. He's made 4 starts and allowed 4 runs total. Saw a stretch where he I think he had a start skipped for something, but he's coming off his best start in that time frame. The Reds have been a dangerous team recently, but I think there is plenty of upside. The one worry here is there just hasn't been any strikeouts, and I think we're going to need those, to kind of help buoy a fantasy score. He also hasn't been as good on the road. A lot of home runs allowed on the road, 15 and 63 and 2/3. It was decent against the Reds first time I faced them, but again, no real strikeout upside. That's a worry for me. At 8K, I definitely want to pay for some strikeout upside. So right now, I might be off of Jameson Taillon. Atlanta, Detroit, Casey Mize. I think I am going to use a little bit of Casey Mize. K numbers have been there. He does flash some upside. Traditionally, I thought he had thrown pretty well against left-handed bats. I think this year it's more evened out, but I think there's a little bit of upside in him in this matchup. The problem, again, is pitch counts. We may only see him throw 90 pitches, and that's obviously a worry. But if he does something similar to what he did against the Yankees just 2 starts ago, I would gladly take that. And I don't consider the Atlanta offense as dangerous as the Yankees. On the other side, Spencer Strider, back-to-back 20-plus fantasy point performances. Detroit strikes out plenty. There is a lot of K upside, but there's a lot of power upside for them as well. When he's off, which has unfortunately been a number of times this year, especially in the second half, multiple home runs can be hit against him. So there's a lot of volatility. I'm still going to use him. I'm just, much of this year, I've kind of been in the mindset to not think of him as, previous Spencer Strider until we start seeing it more consistently. It's just a little different version. K upside's there. It's just not as frequent. He's pitching in a decent ballpark for pitchers, so I am going to be using Spencer Strider today, and I'm going to live with the outcome. Washington and the Mets. Jake Irvin, not somebody I'm interested in against the Mets. I think the Mets are probably going to be one of my favorite stacks, to be honest. And the Mets are doing their Manaea, Clay Holmes thing. The last time, Manaea went 5 last time out. After Clay Holmes went 4. So they did close it out. Does that mean Manaea earned a save in that game? I guess technically he would have. Yeah, or actually he picked up the win, but yeah, I'm not going to play that game trying to figure out, who might do what. They might combine for 6 innings, to be honest, and we won't really know. I just don't see them both combining for the 9 innings again. I think that's asking a little too much, or everything to work out too perfectly. Sean Burke against San Diego, I'm just not interested. No real strikeout upside, walk issues, can give up multiple home runs. Just not really a spot for me. Michael King on the other side has looked rough in his 2 starts back from the IL. I think I'm going to pass again. I think I played the wait and see game with this start. I think I'm going to do it again. He's allowed 6 home runs over his last 2 starts. Not saying that the White Sox are going to hit a bunch of home runs, but it's not a cupcake matchup like we might think since the White Sox lose a bunch. Their offense, though not racking up a ton of hits, like they're just pesky enough. I just don't think it's a spot to expect that King kind of just turns it back on. Guardians, Twins, Joey Cantillo, I think is in play. Last start wasn't the greatest from a fantasy point perspective, but it was completely fine from a real life perspective. The 2 before that, 25 and 29.5, excellent performances. I think there's upside in him here. The last time he faced Minnesota, 18 fantasy points in an L, and still gave up 4 runs. So, I mean, he still approached 20 while giving up 4 runs. So, for me, there's upside for Cantillo in this spot. He has made 3 appearances against the Twins, 14 strikeouts in 8 2/3 innings. Ton of K upside in his approach against the Twins so far this season. So I think Cantillo is somebody that I am going to be invested in. On the other side, Samuel Wood Richardson coming off of a career performance against the Yankees. 11 strikeouts in 6 innings. Absolutely dominant. 11 strikeouts, just 92 pitches in those 6 innings. I am expecting some severe regression just immediately in the start. I'm not going to chase that. He walked a bunch the first time he faced Cleveland. He has been best at home where he's at, but still, I'm just not buying the sudden massive upside that he showed last time out. Toronto, Kansas City, Michael Wacha. I'm just not going to get there against Toronto. He did absolutely dominate them earlier this year for 28 fantasy points. Strikeouts weren't there. He just did not allow base runners. A solo home run. I'm not going to believe that that's going to happen again. So I'm going to be off of Wacha. On the other side, Trey Savage looked dominant in his debut. A bunch of strikeouts. Kansas City doesn't strike out all that much. He only threw 69 pitches in that debut. That's a worry. But I think there's an advantage for him in this matchup since he is so fresh into the big leagues. And he's, just a first-round pick last year. So there isn't a ton of minor league tape on him either. So I do think there's a bit of an advantage for him in this spot. So I will sprinkle him in. I haven't been picking on Kansas City with pitching, but today I'm going to with Savage. Milwaukee, St. Louis. Liberatore, I'm just not going to use him. I do like him as a pitcher. I just don't want to use him against Milwaukee right now. Eric Fedde on the other side. I'm actually interested a little bit in Fedde from a revenge narrative standpoint. He's looked good out of the bullpen for the Brewers, long reliever, etc. I just might not get there because there isn't a ton of upside. But from a revenge standpoint, I really think I'm interested. Last game, Miami and Texas. 2 pitchers that I'm definitely interested in. Yuri Perez, after a dominant performance in Coors, takes on a Texas squad that, if you look back at yesterday's starting lineup, you're like, this team is running this lineup out there. We may not see that same lineup today, but still, Yuri Perez, somebody that I'm definitely interested in, especially at 6,700. Merrill Kelly, I think it's a good bounce back spot for him. Miami doesn't strike out a whole lot, etc., but he looked rough last time out. Start before that wasn't much better. I think it's a get right spot for him. So I do think we'll see him show up. He's been strong against Miami so far this season. But there we have it. There's our first look at pitching. If you enjoy what I bring to you, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, turn the notification bell on, get the alert anytime we drop videos here at DFS Army. If you want to join us, get access to our coaches, tools, sheets, Discord, etc., I'll put links in the description below. You can use promo code RAZ, that's R-A-Z, for 10% off monthly. And I will drop a link to our merch store where you can check out our options, my design as well. And as always, best of luck, everybody.